go. Hold for a second. Go. Hello, everybody. My name's Reuben, and welcome to this PMax Conference. Loving your work. So, as I said, my name's Reuben. I am your MC for this event, coming at you live from Google's EMEA HQ here in Dublin. I'm the MC, and my role is fairly simple: to make sure that you guys get the very most out of this event today. And in my tiny mind, that means just one thing: making sure that you get the most out of all of the fantastic content that we have available for you over the course of this event. So I will do a little bit of context setting. I will give you a few instructions as we go, but mostly I will be moving things quickly along to allow all of our fantastic speakers from across the world share their wisdom, insights and knowledge with you from this stage, so you get the very most out of the experience. Now, why is that so important for this particular event? I'll tell you. Because as well as having 300 digital marketing legends here in the room, in the Foundry, can we have a whoop? Exactly. We also have over 2,000 fellow digital marketing legends joining us from across EMEA, from offices, from cafes, from bedrooms, from kitchens, from all over the place on our live stream here today. Can I get a whoop from all of our live streamers? I was going to say I didn't hear you, but I felt you, but I heard you. It was echoed in the room. Welcome, thank you for joining all. So look, let us move quickly onto the content. Here's what you can expect for the first hour or so of our event today. We are going to start with a keynote giving us a view of not just how AI is affecting and fundamentally driving the PMax product, but also how it is its role in our job, in the roles that we do as marketers, but also in terms of the value that we add. And then just before we dive into the future of PMax and share with you, give you a sneak peek of some of the future developments in the product, we are going to also share with you the very latest research into consumer behaviour, allowing you to go away with some key valuable insights that you can use for your business or for your client's business. So, as I said, I promised I was going to move through things quickly. Let us give a very, very warm Dublin-based and also live stream-based round of applause to welcome on stage and on your screens our very first speaker for today, the always magnificent Noelia Fernandez Arroyo.
Hello, everyone. It's great to see you here. Welcome to Dublin. I'm very proud leader of many of the teams that help you on a daily basis. As Reuben said, welcome to all of you that are present in the room and to the thousands that are following us online. It's a very exciting day because we're going to be talking to you about what we believe is one of the most exciting marketing solutions out there, really leveraging the power of AI. And the way we have designed this day for you is like I'm going to give you a little bit of context of why we believe this is profoundly important for our roles as marketeers. We're also going to talk to you about what is our vision and how do we think this is going to help you and your businesses. We will unveil the roadmap, but we really want to hear from you like you always do. So we continue developing features that are going to help you drive your businesses. And what's most important about that is you're going to hear it directly from the teams that are building this. So that's the intro on my side. But I also wanted to share why this is relevant for me personally. I've been in the industry through the tech, media, and marketing side for the last 30 years. And there has been a lot of change going on, lots of excitement, and lots of needs to adapt to all of those changes. But I believe that the opportunity that we have right now ahead of us is absolutely extraordinary. We see how AI has been catapulted as a technology this year. And we can see how that is shifting and changing businesses and industries around us. And what we believe is that as marketeers, and particularly digital marketeers like all of you, we have a huge role to play and lead our organizations how you can use, in this case, AI solutions like Performance Max to grow profitably your business objectives while you're making considered advertisement investments. But let's step back for a moment and think about AI and these changes that I was talking about. And if we think, and probably some of you in the room, maybe not the most younger ones, if I think about the merge of the internet, mobile really changed the way we have to think about like creating offerings for users. And before that, what the internet cost. The technology that is really at the front end of that is AI. And how we're going to be thinking to do that in a way that is really powerful, it's really important. And as Google, as we will always do, we're thinking how we can build helpful solutions for users and for business around there with this technology in mind. And from that perspective, if we think about this, we have been in this journey for over 7 years right now. And AI is part of a lot of the products that we use on a daily basis. If we think about the billions of queries that come to search every day, if we think about the over 100 billion terms that come into Google Translate that help communicate with each other. Or another example, how generative AI is not only learning from the examples we're giving, is also able to create new outputs. So how we're going to be ahead of that opportunity and use AI to shift a lot of the things that we're doing. And from our perspective, when we think about this and the use of AI, we absolutely want to be both bold and responsible. We want to be bold because we want to be ahead and look to create incredible solutions to solve some of the challenges that we have ahead. But also want to be responsible in regard to those challenges and how we're using this technology. So we are really committed to continue publishing all our findings, our research, our data set. And that has been something that has been very profound in how we think about building solutions. So we'll be focusing creating some of the magic solutions that you're going to be hearing today, particularly about Performance Max. But while we do so, we want to make sure that we continue anchoring that in our first AI principles that were first published back in 2018. An example about this would be, for example, what we shared just a couple of weeks ago. So when you find a generative AI image in your journey through Google, we're going to make sure that it's going to be labeled. So if you don't trust the source, you're going to know if it's going to be created by generative AI or if it's a different source. So that is like the setting for Google AI and how we're thinking about it. So how we're thinking about like simplifying complexity. And there's different dimensions to be looking about it. There is for people, for communities, or for businesses. So an example, for example, how we're solving for communities. The spread of wildfires. I mean, we're welcoming the incredible weather that we have today in Dublin. That is quite unusual to have this heat. So we're thinking about like how that increases spread of wildfires all around our countries in EMEA and how we can use AI to get ahead of that. So while using image satellite, we're bringing Google research and predictive AI models so we can bring this information to communities and we can anticipate how these fires are going to spread. So we can prevent like that further catastrophes in regards to this. Another example, I'm sure you all love using Google Maps on a daily basis. A particular feature that I've always used is the Street View. and it's hard to imagine this was already launched back in 2007. And we have done a lot of evolution since then. And the latest one that we recently announced is having an immersive experience in your view in routes. So not only that you can imagine and visualize how the route is going to look like, but also you can also see how the weather is going to evolve. So if you decide to ride to work, maybe you need to bring a shelter to protect you if the rain is going to hit you in the way. Another example, how we're simplifying complexity for businesses. And in this case, how we're partnering our Google AI with Carrefour to then identify at the back of consumer behavior how they can restock inventory in real time. So how this is helping our world and how we're thinking simplifying complexity for marketing for all of us. And we know very, very well that the way we and the user that we're targeting, the way they get inspired, when they decide, they buy, or they research, is a constant change, challenge, and opportunity. So this element about like the right message to the right audience is absolutely a moving target. And what we know is that that is just going to continue evolving and changing, so agility and how you embrace that while you bring profitable growth in your company, it's just becoming more difficult. So how AI is going to be able to help you in this sense. And here is where we see Google AI helping you multiply your capabilities as a marketeer. It has been foundational for a lot of the products that we have been releasing. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples thinking about one of the key challenges and opportunities that we have when we're thinking about the consumer. So in order to really reach that audience in the right moment, like thinking about the asset and the visuals on those channels, like what format, how many channels you need to be addressing for. That has been a constant challenge from a time investment and also could be like quite expensive. So we have been thinking hard how we could boost your creativity while you still capture the objectives that you're going after. And there's a couple of solutions that we have been using over the years where AI has been at the forefront. And there's a couple of ones that I'm sure that you know very well. Responsive search ads, where we're thinking how we can help you giving insights about headlines and other descriptors so you can have a better assessment of the performance assets that you're putting out there. And at the back of what we were seeing and the feedback that we were getting from you, we expanded that to millions of sites and apps just at the end of that year. And with that vision, the team that actually you're going to be hearing from today, they were like, we need to bring this to all the inventory that is available in Google. And how we can make it in a way that is really boosting your creativity and that is really anchoring, making sure that you still achieve your performance goals. And just a couple of weeks ago in GML, what we announced is that you're going to be able to use AI to generate additional creatives into the assets that you're bringing to your users. And we're really thinking about not only in a transactional way, but in a fun, conversational way. So you're going to be having a conversation with Google AI. You're going to be talking to the solution and saying, hey, I'm thinking about these keywords or like these assets. Show me other options. So all this creative space is magnificent, and actually that is what we're going to go a bit deeper on that later on today in the session. So we've talked a bit about like the importance of creatives and the assets. So how this is going to be playing out to make sure that you're achieving your performance. And that starts with the search page. And we think about over the last few years, we have been really, really focused on how we can understand intent and how we can understand natural language and how we're making searches. So then we can use that as powerful signals for when we're bringing that back to our marketing solutions. And just in the last 5 years, that understanding of large language models have been multiplied by 5,000x. And we are 50% better at understanding the nature of human language. So we have evolved from a more reactive, precise query results that you're getting in the search page to a more personalized, expansive, intuitive way to identify how intent is going to be captured. And all of that is being brought at the core of our Google solutions. And if we think about this, there is that combination of maximizing creativity, making sure that the performance is coming to the right intent, and that you're using AI and all the information and the technology that we have been evolving towards that. Now, all of this is useless if you don't have the right measurement setup. And it has to be privacy first thought. That is what the users are expecting and what your business are expecting. So it's really, really important how we have thought about in these solutions, how we can make sure that using Google AI, your first-party data, and other privacy-preserving technologies, we can make sure that you're getting the right insights and conversion value so you can drive your business objectives, but you're having the confidence that you're matching the expectations of the users about their privacy expectations. And this comes with being very strategic, focus around the consent data that we're getting from all the users. It's also making sure that we're being thoughtful on how that is being introduced in everything that we're unveiling through our solutions. And last but not least, we need to be thinking about this Google AI so you can steer it, thinking about modeling or attribution or your bidding strategies. So you can get the right insights about how you're going to be steering your business, but having that confidence that you're doing the right thing from a privacy perspective. An example about this that actually we talked in GML just a couple of weeks ago, we announced in Google Analytics 4 that you're going to be able to build in directly using also predictive audiences, leveraging AI, and you're going to be able to bring it directly to Google Ads. That is extremely powerful. Google Analytics 4 was thought as a first privacy solution, so we could be able to follow the demands from users and business from right now, but also anticipate the challenges and the opportunities that come in the future. And that is why we will not log or store individual IP data, and will give you the flexibility of capturing parts of that information in a per regional set. Now, all these functionalities are going to be unveiled only in Google Analytics 4. That is actually, you need to transition if you haven't done so by the 1st of July. That is only 17 days away. I know it very well because the 1st of July is my birthday, so not because I'm a freak with the numbers. But it's a very important feature, how this predicting into Google Analytics 4. Okay, so if I wrap up, we have these incredible capabilities to boost your creativity. You're going to be much better at addressing performance and doing that in a privacy safe manner. So where do you start? And actually, that is how we have designed the day, so we can go really under the hood with the teams that are building the solution. Very important, ask questions, give us feedback. We have continued building features just in the last 18 months around Performance Max. It's very important that you listen and you give us feedback as well. And I'm going to leave you with the last message. All this technology is about the humans that are leading it. So either you're thinking about what is your data strategy or your conversion strategy and how you're going to be using AI to help you multiply your capabilities. How are you going to be leading your organization when they're thinking about experiments framework, or how we're thinking about budgets? It has to be much more fluid and agile. So how you can use AI as your best collaborator, not as a competitor. And for that, you need to learn and you need to be ahead of it. And we're very thrilled to continue this journey with you, working it together, and hopefully helping you to achieve all your goals. So now, I'm very happy to welcome to stage a couple of colleagues that are going to talk to us about something very important, consumer insights, in this case, in regards to retail online purchase pattern. And how we can use these insights to fuel our Google AI solutions. So enjoy the day, ask us tough questions, have fun, and thank you very much for being with us. Tamara, Emily, over to you.
Good morning, Dublin. How's everyone doing? Ooh. And hello, of course, to everyone on our live stream. So incredible to be here with you all in person and virtually. My name is Emily Allen, and I am a research manager on the Market Insights team here at Google. So as Noelia just mentioned, we are here to share with you some really incredible search insights that our team has discovered and talk about the theory of consumer decision making. But you might be wondering, we're here for a PMax conference. Why do we care about consumer decision making? Well, at the end of the day, our customers should be and are at the heart of all of our marketing strategy. And so when we know about our customers, when we know about how they're shopping, when, where, how, why, we can give our AI-powered solutions the best possible inputs to create the best solutions that our customers then view and see. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague Tamara to talk about some of the theory of how customers make decisions and talk about how the world has gotten a lot messier. Especially, we're all digital marketers here, and so how has digital marketing changed and gotten more complicated over time? And then what can we do about that, and how can AI help? So Tamara, over to you.
Wonderful, thank you. So my name is Tamara. I'm also an Insights Manager. Excited to be here in Dublin today. And as Emily said, we're going to be talking to you a little bit about consumer insights. And some of you might be familiar with a study called Decoding Decisions. Just a very quick show of hands. Who has heard of Decoding Decisions? A couple, okay, that's good. For you guys, it's going to be a little bit of a recap. But for the others, let's make sure that we're all on the same page. So we're going to be talking to you about the fundamental question when it comes to marketing. How do people actually decide what to buy? And as Insights Managers at Google, we try to answer that question through the lens of behavioral science. So what we discovered in our research that we've been doing over a couple of years now is that between the trigger for becoming in market and an actual purchase, the consumer journey actually is very messy. There are a lot of different touch points. People move over to they have all different contents that they've been using. And it was very difficult to us initially to better understand what is actually happening. So then we decided to really deep dive into this model. And what was that we discovered is that there are only two mindsets at play. We have an exploration mindset in which we expand our decisions, the content that we know about products. We expand on what we want to be understanding from the product. And then we have evaluation, which is a reductive mindset. So people might be moving back and forth between exploration and evaluation before they eventually land in purchase. Well, to also navigate all this messiness, people make use of mental shortcuts. And that is where the behavioral science steps in. So for example, let's have a look at this hotel brand. It's just a regular hotel, and you can find some bits and pieces of information. But if we actually look very closely, we see that there are 6 behavioral science principles at play. The 5-star review that you see is an example of social proof, the fact that people tend to follow the herd. Or you see all-inclusive, which is a category heuristic, a mental shortcut that tells us a little bit more about the product. So we decided to test how strong these behavioral science principles can be in order to shift away brand preference. We recruited 1,000 people in more than 30 categories, among which also hotels was one, and we created an invented brand, which is called Stay in Hotel. Completely invented and just purposely used for this research. We then asked people which of the 2 brands they rather would go with. And then what we did for the invented brand is that we supercharged it. So all the behavioral science principles at play, we took that to the next level. And what we found was quite striking. Here you see that anywhere between 28% and 87% was willing to switch away from their first choice brand into a completely invented brand that they had never heard of before. It's not to say that brands aren't important. I think they still are, because we also see that, especially in some categories, people stick with their first choice brand even though there was a more superior proposition available. But it does show that established brands can be challenged if they're not on top of their game. So this and many more insights we published in our book called Decoding Decisions, which launched a couple of years ago. But we've been working on a lot more stuff. And that's what we're going to be talking to you about today. We didn't have time to go through all the different stuff, the researches that we're going to be showing later this year, but we've chosen 2, and Emily will talk you through which ones.
Fabulous. Thank you, Tamara. So that was the theory. So those of you that raised your hand that you'd heard of decoding decisions before, I hope that that's probably the research that you've seen, right? Starting with trigger, ending with a purchase, and that complicated purchase journey in the middle. But as Tamara mentioned, we have 2 very exciting new builds on that research because we are all marketers. And so how do we actually take that theory and apply it to some of the marketing environments that we often have the most control over? So search being the first, and then I'll hand back to Tamara to talk to content. So what we did in this experiment is we actually took that side-by-side retailer comparison that Tamara just talked through. So we wanted to simulate a very similar test. And so instead of asking the first choice brand and that invented brand, we actually flipped it to look a bit more like this ranked search environment. So we still were asking shoppers, of course, that favorite brand, their second favorite brand, and we brought back our invented brands as well. And so here you see what might look like a relatively normal search ad. But it's actually a carefully engineered experiment, supercharged with 6 expressions of behavioral science. So for those that were very closely paying attention, you'll notice that 3 of them are similar to what Tamara just talked about. You know, the power of free, authority bias, social proof. But then there were 3 more that we added for this specific experiment that are more conducive to a text-based environment. For example, the pratfall effect. And for those that are native English speakers, you might know cozy. Our rooms may be cozy. Cozy means small. So our rooms may be cozy, but our rates are low. So in this attempt, we're trying to poke fun of ourselves as a brand and build trust, build that humanity. And that's what the pratfall effect is attempting to do. So once we were able to build out which behavioral principles, again, there are hundreds of behavioral principles we could use. We chose these 6 because we, in our exploratory research, saw that they were the most impactful. But then we were able to put it to the test. So very similar to the research that Tamara just talked through. And so we put that first choice brand in first place, and then we supercharged that invented brand. We put that in second. And what you might notice is we actually have lost the logos, right, that we added in that original experiment. So now we are purely just testing this invented brand on name alone, and of course, the supercharged behavioral science propositions. And very similar to the results that Tamara just shared, in the hotel category, we were able to see that 34% of our research respondents chose that invented hotel brand over their first choice because it was supercharged with these more superior propositions. And we saw anywhere from 14 to 37% across the categories that we tested were willing to shift that brand preference. So that's search. And then after consumers click on an ad, I'm going to hand over to Tamara to talk about how do you supercharge your content.
Amazing, thank you. So indeed, you might have piqued the interest from a shopper. They clicked on your search ad and they land upon your website. What can we do there? Can we leverage behavioral science once again? Well, we'll figure that out today. But before doing so as I said, can we make sure that the shopper considers purchasing your product? But consideration is something that we as marketers have on top of their mind. We want to drive consideration for our products. But actually, if we look at the consumer, it's much more confidence that is important. They want to be confident that the product they're about to buy is going to be delivering up to the expectations. They want to be confident that this is absolutely the best product that they could choose. And that's why they might have spent a lot of time in that messy middle, going back and forth to better understand what is out there, what is available, and what would solve their needs the best. So we figured that confidence is something that shoppers are actually looking for. So for this section, we're going to be taking on the glasses from a consumer perspective and really focus on that confidence. So what we did to better understand confidence as well is we looked into the different user needs or information needs that shoppers had. What we figured is that between those two different mindsets, there are also different information needs. So, for example, in exploration, they are much more interested in understanding the range of options that are available. But in evaluation, they want to know what are the delivery terms or how quickly can I get my product. So then we decided to put that to the test. So we connected these information needs with behavioral science, and once again recruited a lot of shoppers to understand to what extent we were able to boost the confidence of our shoppers. And please note in the question here, we are talking about confidence in general about purchasing a product, not about Miller sofas, in this case, our invented brand. We just wanted to understand the confidence in general about buying that product. So by applying the same method as we've been using before, we were able to upgrade and downgrade the website, supercharge it, but to make sure that we supplied all the information needs that they were looking for, as well as some behavioral science. And that actually brought us to 3 different versions of the website. We had a bronze, a silver, and a gold. And as you might guess, bronze was the lowest performing website, which was not that helpful and did not have that many information needs solved. Silver was already a little bit better, but gold was the true star, in which we really supercharged it, took behavioral science to the next level, and made sure that we covered off for all the information needs that our shoppers had. And as you, oh, sorry, that was the wrong direction. As you can see here, this is what we used for our exploration mindset. As mentioned earlier, we have an exploration mindset, the expensive one, and an evaluative mindset, a reductive one. So for the exploration, we applied it to the homepage of Miller Sofas. And what we can see here is that actually our gold page was able to boost the confidence the best of our 3 websites. So gold was able to boost confidence of 67%, which is a lot more than what our bronze page was able to. We then took it also for the evaluation page. We wanted to understand in the evaluative mindset, we were also able to boost that same confidence. So we applied the behavioral science principles, used the information needs that are relevant in the evaluative mindset, and tried it once again. And once again, we see that we are able to boost that confidence. Well, now you might wonder, what is all this boosting confidence? What is it good for? Well, we actually replicated the full study once again, but in this case, we didn't ask about confidence in buying a sofa. We asked about consideration for buying Miller sofas. And what we found is that the consideration and confidence can be pushed or boosted by the same behavioral science principles. As you see here, we see that just as much influence all the behavioral science principles have on confidence as well as on consideration. And that is why we think that this is a win-win to boost the confidence of your shoppers and eventually also lead more with consideration for your products as well. Handing it back to Emily to wrap us up for today.
Excellent.
Oh, sorry.
Thanks, Tamara. So we just talked about the theory, of course. We started with trigger, end with a purchase. We had that mess in the middle, consumer decision-making getting more complicated. And then we talked about how we took that theory, put it to the test in search and within content. And my favorite part of the content study is, of course, how do we speak as marketers in one way, we speak in consumers as another. And so while we're looking to build confidence as consumers, as marketers, what we care about, of course, is consideration. So that's one of my favorite pieces of that study. Thanks, Tamara. But what does this matter to us? Why, as marketers, do we care? And why do those of us at a PMax conference, taking this time out of our day, care about this consumer decision-making? And so first and foremost, all of this research that we've done shows us that we need to ensure brand presence. We want to have broad coverage of our campaigns so that we can show up when, where our consumers are looking for us. That's critically important. Second, remember that messy middle model that Tamara talked through at the beginning. We want to close that gap between trigger and purchase. Because while we had incredible insights about what consumers are doing and what information needs they have in that exploration and evaluation mindsets, we as marketers don't want our customers exploring and evaluating, because then that might take them to another brand, right? We want them to choose our brand. And so by closing that gap between trigger and purchase, we're more likely to inspire shoppers to go from trigger to purchase and pick us. And by using the power of AI and by using all of the incredible human knowledge that we have, because at the end of the day, no one knows your industry, your product, your consumer like you do. And so by taking this toolbox of everything that we just talked about and some of these tricks and these mental shortcuts that we've discussed, you can take all that knowledge and provide the best possible inputs for your AI solutions. And then last, of course, one of the ways that we explore doing this is by employing the responsible use of behavioral science. Because all of us humans, we have to make shortcuts all the time. And so by using some of these principles and some of these heuristics that we actually talked about today, we hope that this gives you an interesting toolbox to actually start thinking about what of these hundreds of principles could be used. Maybe some of the ones that we talked about, but maybe some different ones that are going to be the most relevant for your business. Thank you so much, and we'll hope to see you in the hallway if you have any questions about our research.
Excellent stuff. Did I not promise you exquisite content? Yes, I did, and delivered on already. So look, thank you very much, guys. So look, we've got a much better view of the AI-powered future. We've also got an understanding of how our campaigns can help our customers better make their purchase decisions, which makes me feel that we're perfectly set up now to do our dive into our PMax-focused content. And to start us off on our journey into the heart of PMax. Yeah, it sounds quite cool. I quite like that. The heart of PMax. I would like you to give a very, very warm round of applause to a couple of product managers who are coming on to give their perspective on the vision of PMax, but also to share with us some of the most exciting future developments in the product. Would you give a very warm round of applause and welcome on stage and to your screens, Irfan, Uyar, and first of all, Tal Akabas from Google.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Tal Akabas. I'm a product manager working on Performance Max. I'm really excited to be here today to share with you the vision and product roadmap for PMax. I'd also like to thank you all for being here, both in person and on the live stream. It's really energizing for us to get to share the innovations we're working on and also hear directly from our advertisers. So AI has been in the headlines a lot lately, from chatbots and LLMs to predictive AI to generative AI. But rightfully so. The pace of innovation in AI has accelerated so rapidly. But Google's well positioned to take advantage of this shift, as Google's been at the forefront of AI for many years, both in research as well as products and services, including Google Ads. So from the early days of smart bidding to RSA to targeting, and now we're bringing that all together, cross-channel, in the fullest expression of AI that Google Ads has to offer with Performance Max. Now, there are two main reasons why digital advertising, and Google Ads in particular, are a prime application for AI. The first is measurable outcomes. We'll talk a lot today about how important it is to express the right business goals, get conversion measurement right. We all know that AI works really well when it has a clear objective function, which could be beating the world champion at Go, or in our case, maximizing sales, new customer acquisition, getting more qualified leads, or even better, bringing those all together with a conversion value expression. And that's a really good example of where you're partnering with the AI, right? The AI is great at maximizing a particular value. That's what it does best. But it doesn't know how to value those things, and certainly doesn't know how to trade off different goals or different inputs. And so that's where you can partner with the AI. The second reason why digital advertising, again, Google Ads, is really well positioned to take advantage of AI is the vast amounts of training data. From billions of users searching and browsing across all of Google's properties at different devices, times of day, with different interests, we can feed all of that data back into the AI to show the right ad to the right user, and also set the right bid for each and every auction in real time so that we can maximize performance. So let's talk a little bit about performance. Advertisers who use Performance Max see an average of plus 18% conversions at a similar CPA. Now, you might remember we presented a similar stat at last year's Google Marketing Live, and this number was 13%. And that's indicative of all the hard work the engineering teams have done to take advantage of new AI technologies to boost performance. And it's not one change, right? That happens in incremental improvements over time, and there's a lot more headroom to go. Now, I want to acknowledge one thing here. We know performance is foundational and the most important thing to making advertisers success with Performance Max. But we also know that stability is important. And so delivering performance in a stable way with less volatility is something we're focused on, and trying to get that balance right between maximizing performance and also ensuring stability. And that's really important, especially in an AI-driven campaign. One more stat. Advertisers who migrated from Smart Shopping campaigns to PMax saw a plus 12% lift in conversion value, which is pretty incredible given Smart Shopping was already an AI-driven campaign. And so that shows how we're bringing the full expression cross-channel of Google Ads to deliver the best performance. OK, let's talk a little bit about what's next for Performance Max. So we'll go over the roadmap a little. My team and I think a lot about how we can make Performance Max the best performing product and also the best trusted product in the market. And again, we love to hear your feedback. We have three key pillars for how we're thinking about the roadmap in 2023 and beyond. The first is controls to steer the AI. So AI cannot operate in a vacuum, and we'll talk a lot about that today, of how important it is to give AI the right inputs and data to get the results you want. So that's things like new customer acquisition, different goal expression, as well as ROI and brand safety constraints that help contain the AI to give you the right results. The next pillar is ease of use and workflows. One of the things that's key here, we know that as PMax goes cross-channel, generating all of the assets that are required, right, like vertical videos, different orientations of images, and getting that right over and over, iterating on those images so they stay fresh. So we'll talk about how we're using generative AI to make that easier for all of you. And the third is proving the value of PMax and providing insights, right? So we have that stat there. We want each and every one of you to see that value that PMax is delivering, and also get the insights that you need to trust the product and use those insights in your broader digital marketing strategy. So let's visualize this a little bit. This is kind of how we started a couple of years ago. You have your business goals, you have some data inputs, and the AI goes to work. But we know that we need more structure and scaffolding around this to make AI and Performance Max successful. So we're working on building out the goals and objectives, building in more ROI and brand safety controls, and as I mentioned as well, is proving the value on the output, so insights and more testing. So let's go through these a little bit. Goals and objectives are probably the most critical thing you can do to make sure you're steering AI in the right direction. We want you as marketers to be able to express fully your business objectives in Google Ads and get those as close as possible to what you're actually measuring on your side and what your business is trying to optimize for. So last year, we launched a feature called New Customer Acquisition. I hope many of you are using it and finding success. We've seen great adoption among our advertisers, and that allows you to express, for example, that a new customer is worth more than an existing customer to your business. We're enhancing that capability this year, and we're launching a feature called New Customer Acquisition with High Value Optimization. It will allow you to bring your first-party data into Google Ads with new customer acquisition, tell us who's most valuable for your business so that we can then go and find new customers who are also high value, like those existing high-value customers. This is a great example where bringing your first-party data into Google Ads can help give the AI the information it needs to optimize on your behalf. ROI controls are also important. Things like CPA and ROAS targets, we highly encourage advertisers to use those to get the ROI that you want. We also know that, for example, something like branded terms on search may have a different ROI than other digital marketing placements. And so we're adding a feature that I think we know has been widely requested. It's called campaign-level brand exclusions. In your Performance Max campaign, you'll be able to go in, add an exclusion for your own brand terms. This will exclude it from your Performance Max campaign, and then you can optimize those in your search campaigns through keyword targeting. And that will allow you to give a different ROI target from how you're capturing this value in Performance Max. Brand safety controls are another really important constraint on the AI. We know that brand safety is often a non-starter for advertisers, right? If you're not confident that your ads are showing in the right place, next to the right types of placements, no matter how good the performance is, it may not matter. So we already have a lot of the baseline brand safety controls in PMax, but we've heard feedback around negative keywords. So we've launched recently account-level negative keywords, which will allow you to exclude across your account keywords that you don't find safe for your brand or you find sensitive. I mentioned creatives before. This is a really important input to Performance Max. It's one of the key ways as digital marketers you can differentiate your brand and connect with consumers. It's a really important way to steer the AI and get the most out of Performance Max. And it's really important as Performance Max goes across channel, as I just mentioned, to have all of the different formats so that we can then optimize those on your behalf and serve on the right placements. So we're working on bringing generative AI directly into Performance Max. You may have seen this recently announced at Google Marketing Live last month. But you'll be able to go into Performance Max, give a few inputs about your brand, about what your products and services, and then generate headlines, descriptions, and images that you can then use in your campaigns. And you'll always be in control. So anything you generate here, you'll have the ability to accept and you'll apply to your campaign before it's used. So the marketer is in control. You'll also have a sandbox available in the asset picker where you can go and add more inputs and try to refine the inputs and create new images that you can use in your marketing. Feeds are another really good example of how you can give input to the AI and tell us more about your business so that we know how to optimize on your behalf. We already support, obviously, Merchant Center feed. That's a great way to tell us about your products and services. We're introducing page feeds into PMax so that you can tell us about which URLs you want to optimize for in this particular campaign. You can use this in conjunction with URL expansion so we can find new pages that we didn't know about. We would recommend that. You can also use this, if you don't want to use URL expansion, you can use this to expand beyond your single final landing page and optimize for more pages in Performance Max. Finally, on the output, once you've steered the AI correctly, again, you want to know that it's working right for you and gain those insights. So let's talk about insights for a minute. We know that insights are critical. On top of new insights we're building, we've also been working on making sure that we have more coverage. So we've heard feedback, there's 7 insights, but this campaign only sees 2. We're working on that. We're trying to bring all the insights to all campaigns in PMax, and we're also working on new insights. So here's Search Term Insights has been something that's available. We're working on bringing new capabilities, so you'll be able very soon to apply date ranges to your search insights and also download them and export them, which we know has been a clear and common ask. We're also bringing performance insights together in one module. We know, again, as I talked about before, the stability and understandability of how the AI is operating for you is really important. And so we see search insights as a way to explain different fluctuations or how the AI is operating based on reactions to the market or changes that you make. With that, I'll hand it off to Irfan to talk about some retail-specific updates. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Irfan. I'm a product manager for Retail PMax. And I'm here to talk to you about some specific highlights which we have for retail on our roadmap for PMax. Starting off with product insights and retail diagnostic. We always strive to provide more visibility and help advertisers to better understand the performance of their campaigns as well as their businesses. To provide you basically in help by improving our reporting with more insights and better seamless design. Last year, we have launched product insights and decoupled product issues from product status. Moving forward, we're continuing to improve our product insights by 2 major things. First, by providing the ability to filter by issue types for better visibility and apply inline recommendations for better actionability for you. Second, we also plan to add retail insights and diagnostics, such as product retail diagnostics and category insights. These will bring opportunities to optimize your feed and campaign performance in one place with one click. We're also excited to share with you with store sales optimization, which we have recently launched in PMax, which is a great example to help you advertisers to basically drive what matters for you. Offline marketers are interested in driving store sales in the store where they are and where they're basically driving the value for their businesses. Moving over to our next part, which I'm really excited about, experiments. Rapid learning enables innovation. You can test new functionalities in a controlled and safe environment to fail fast and learn fast, which basically drives innovation for us, and double down on works for you best. We have two major types of experiments which we are running today, which are available already, which is PMax uplift experiments and standard shopping campaigns versus PMax experiments. With basically those two experiment types which are available today, we're supporting you to think about what are the benefits to shift over from existing campaign types over to PMax. Shifting to tools basically which enables to optimize your new PMax campaigns. We have heard your feedback, and I'm really excited about two major areas where we are investing in. First, we want you to run experiments which are high quality and are really easy to set up. So we're introducing one-click PMax experiments for shopping campaigns. So with one click, you select your campaign and basically start your PMax campaign experiment. Secondly, variable confidence intervals and other reporting tools which you have been asking for. Second big area is supporting additional entry points, such as API, recommendations, and as well through editor. And now, one point which I'm really excited about is PMax customer experiments, which we will be launching later this year. What you can do with that experiment type is basically you can optimize your PMax campaign and test PMax against PMax. Different settings, different goals, see which creatives basically work for you best and drive more results into your business. Most importantly, what I really like about is you will basically able to have testing final UR expansions or value-based bidding strategies to understand is that really working for me well? Does it bring me incremental value to my campaigns and to what I have right now? And if yes, apply on it. If not, change it and try something out differently. So rapidly testing, failing, and double down on what works, that is what this experiment is designed for. So I'm really happy to share those insights with you. Afterwards, happy to connect with you. Let me know whatever you need. I'm here for you.